2 years into the worst lead poisoning epidemic, the Human Rights Watch has asked the federal government of Nigeria to urgently come to the aid of the people of Bagega and other communities where over 400 children have been reported dead and about 3,500 more seriously ill in the country's northwestern state of Zamfara. Presenting its report and a documentary to journalists in Lagos today, the group says government must commit to treating thousands of affected children, clean villages, and help improve mining practices in the state. The group also revealed that about $4 million is required to execute the first phase of the intervention, which must be carried out before June or the beginning of the rainy season in order to prevent the situation from worsening.
This is Bagega, one of numerous communities in Zamfara state where artisanal gold mines flourish. The high levels of lead present in the earth and the crude mining methods employed here have exposed children to the lead poisoning epidemic through lead dust and toxic lead in contaminated water and food.
That children should have no amount of lead in their blood. Any trace amount of lead in the blood can cause some effect on intellectual and physical development. In Zamfara state, we are seeing levels of lead in children that are unprecedented.
Various tests and this documentary produced by the Human Rights Watch show that lead levels in the community can be as high as 23,000 parts per million in one home, far above the safe level of 400 parts per million. This, the group says, cause for concerns.
The first step is implementing safer mining practices. This is very, very important because as long as people continue to mine in this way, their villages will be recontaminated and their children will be re-exposed. To do this initial phase, which is the implementation of safer mining practices, the environmental cleanup of the villages affected, and the testing and treating of these children is around $4 million. This needs to happen immediately. It needs to happen before the next rainy season. If remediation begins but is not completed, the rainy season will actually make the entire situation much worse.
The common symptoms of lead poisoning are extreme convulsion and impaired growth in children, and in adults, infertility and miscarriage.
Convulsing is the main symptom that is showing parents that their children are very ill, but in children who are still heavily affected but are not affected to that level, the symptoms are harder to see. But what you see as they develop and get older is that they are not developing along with children who have not been affected. Their cognitive, biological development is impaired.
I've told us they've made representation to the presidency. I mean, what they said is that they are positive that there will be funds, there will be action, there will be movement. But it's difficult to tell that to the people of Zamfara who are losing their children, who are losing their health, whose environment is being contaminated.
In the meantime, government's intervention is needed urgently so that the source of prosperity for these ones would not continue to be the source of death. Henry Ogunjimi, Channels Television News.